hello, and welcome to Find It. You have found it. We are here tonight. We are live. I have, oh my gosh, one of my very favorite people in the whole wide world is on the show tonight to share some things. We're actually going to do a little Q&A session. And we hope that when we're asking these questions, you listen and you think how you would answer that too. Write in what your answer would be if you want. But before I bring one of my favorite people in the whole entire world up, let me talk to you about this show is sponsored to you by Studio 11 Style. And it's more than clothes. It's being an 11, which means we're all on a path to better ourselves and be a better version of who we already are. We're growing. So you can tune in live on Monday nights. We live stream with a bunch of girls that show how clothes fit differently on each body. And we talk about life stuff because, you know, clothes are fun and all, but really it's all what we have on the inside. This big heart. This just came in today. So anyway, with no further ado, let's get this party started. We are going to bring the Steve Rizzo. Yes, folks, Steve Rizzo is in the house. We're going to show his intro and he will be right back with us. And where's my main man? Here he is. Hello, Steve. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see your face today. It's been too long, my friend.
Yes, it has.
I mean, it's been a while.
No, it's been a long time. I know. And
yeah.
It's so good to see you too. And you know that.
I know. I love you dearly. And I know you're working on, okay, so for those of you who don't know, Steve Rizzo was one of the absolute best comedians in the 80s, and he still is a comedian. He is absolutely hilarious. And he is an inspirational speaker, and he is a teacher. He is a coach. He is an author of a lot of different books, but the one I'm going to promote tonight, Lynn, if you can put up Conversations with Bob. This book is a timeless, entertaining dialogue for living an extraordinary life. It truly is. So you can grab it at Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. It would be worth your while to grab a copy for yourself and gift one. It's a great gift. So he is the author of this amazing book. And I know I've read it twice. So it's a keeper. So go ahead and get you one. So anyway, let's just chat a little bit. So it's been a minute since we've been around one another and we've talked, but we're getting back in gear here. And you are kind of like jotting down some information for your new book, right?
Yeah. The new book is called actually Becoming Steve Rizzo.
Yeah. Well, we all want to be you, Steve. So.
Well, no, you don't.
With more hair.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good. I'll tell the jokes. All right, Dad. Thank you.
Up. Oh, you know I'm going to get in there.
Oh, of course. No, yeah, it's. I usually don't come up with the title for a book until after I start writing a while, but I just got the title first, and then everything started falling in place. It's all the things that I've experienced and learned in my life, all the mistakes I made, how I evolved.
It must be as big as the Bible.
What's that? Yeah, really.
All your mistakes are in there. Wow, it's like.
Oh, this is only part one.
Okay, gotcha.
No, there's tons of mistakes, and what I learned from them, and the spiritual evolution, and how I realized how powerful a sense of humor was, and the biggest inspirations in my life. So I guess the subtitle is going to be something like stories, lessons, and miraculous happenings. So it's going to be something like that.
Okay. I like it. Becoming Steve Rizzo. And you know what's interesting about that? Like we're having storms and things. Steve, you're kind of on a delay and it might be on my end. I don't know if Lynn can see that, but if hang tight with us, you guys, don't leave us, even though there's storms here in Ohio. The name of the book, Becoming Steve Rizzo, and you're the author of it. It makes me feel a certain kind of way about that title because we all could write a book with our own name on it because we're all learning who we are. Somehow along life, we forget who we are. And I think once you get into like my age, you start relearning, or not relearning. I think you start digging deep and you find yourself again, and you get acquainted with yourself and have a relationship with who you really are. You know, becoming Steve Rizzo, maybe mine would be becoming Debbie Bettendorf. Like, who am
Well,
I?
I'm so glad you described it perfectly. That's why I'm writing the book, because anyone that reads this and reads the lessons and the things that I learned from my past that I never thought were really important, but sometimes you reach a certain age and you realize, how did this happen? Then you go back. So that's really what this book is about. It's to tap into everyone that reads it. Like, you all have your own stories, your own miraculous happenings, your own lessons that you learned, and some the hard way.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we all have our own spiritual evolution. And that's exactly what the book is about. And by reading these stories and these lessons and miraculous happenings, people are going to relate to it. And like, wow, yes, something like that happened to me too. And I
And
want to stir
maybe,
that up.
and maybe with what you described the lesson was for you can also help other people. That's, yeah, that makes sense. Like things that
Exactly.
happen. Sometimes we get no uh, assurance or no peace from why did that happen? And you can stay in an angry space. And then if you read your book or talk to you, and you and I have had great conversations so many times over the last few years where it's almost like a revelation of sorts, where I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, that, you know, when you talk things out and you bounce things off of someone else and you can get their take on it, it can help us heal through things too.
Yep.
So I'm excited about this book. I really am. I do want to continue chatting with you in between Q&A, guys. So if you're here right now, stay with us, because when I ask Steve a question, I want you to really honestly think. Some of them are kooky questions. Some of them are serious questions. Some of them are fun. So if you're on here right now, hang tight. And you also think to yourself, or type in what your answer is when I ask Steve. Do you ready for this, Steve Rizzo?
I got to get going.
We got to get going. See you later. See you later. I'm
I'm
out.
ready. I'm ready.
Okay, so
Hit me
what
with your best shot.
what are you most grateful for in this season of life?
Um, Quality time alone. And when I do that, it's so empowering because I never feel lonely. When you can spend time by yourself, I mean, significant time, I mean, a lot of time by yourself and not feel lonely, you are really getting in tune with who you really are. I
So you're
think that's the
grateful for
most,
being there.
and incredibly grateful for being. It's one of the most gratifying things you could ever give to yourself. A lot of people can't do that. I don't
Yeah.
know if I would have been able to do that years ago. And it's got me to the point now where I have conversations. Well, my book is Conversations with Bob, and Bob is God. I'm actually having conversations,
Yeah.
with this higher power. And I'm coming to the realization that the answer comes, but it's your voice. It's your
Mhm.
voice because God is within. So
Oh, I
when you
love
ask the question and your voice comes out, it's the same thing. You're having a conversation with yourself, but it's really God. And once you get used to that, it's incredibly empowering.
that. Ooh, I love that. Ooh, that's good. Okay. I don't know the answer to this, but I know you do a lot of things for people. But do you give back or volunteer with any organizations?
I not only volunteer my services to organizations, I do it on an individual basis. As a
Yes.
matter of fact, I just helped a young man who just graduated high school, and he was a valedictorian of his senior class, and he gave a presentation 3 days ago, 4 days ago, and for 2 weeks, he heard about me from a friend of mine who knew his mother, and he called me, he texted me, and said, "Would you help me craft my presentation?" And I said I would love to. So I met with him like 4 or 5 times. When I
Wow.
went to his graduation, he invited me. I sat with his mom and dad. He did a scrupulous job, and I felt really good about that. Now we have this connection.
Yes.
Guess what he wants to do with his life? And he's only graduating high school. He's going to High Point University. He
Wow.
wants to be a motivational speaker.
Nice.
I've never heard of anyone that age
Wanting
wanting
to
to
do
be a
that.
motivational speaker. It flipped me out. So it was a serendipitous thing
Put
too.
me out.
It flipped me out. I don't know what to do. Like I wanted to give the kid a hug is what I wanted to do. You know,
That's amazing.
I love these guys.
Oh my gosh, I love when you do that. Okay, so here's one. Do you have any tattoos?
No,
No tattoos. Well, that was a quick
not,
answer.
not one.
We don't have any that are hidden that you need to show. Okay, we're good. All right.
Oh yeah, I have one. Wait a minute.
Okay. This is PG-13, Steve.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. What gives you goosebumps?
Now, what
Don't
kind
say
of
when I'm
goosebumps?
cold.
What what kind of goosebumps you talk? Like a sentimental goosebump
Oh, I
or
guess just goosebumps other than being like a physical reaction to cold weather. So like something that makes you emotional and you just get goosies. I get goosies when I'm emotional about stuff.
um
Hi, Bob.
when my grandchildren come up to me and in their own way tell me how much they love me.
Oh,
When my granddaughter, who was in the hospital for 3 days 2 weeks ago, they didn't know what was wrong with her. It looked like it was a real serious thing, real serious. And when she came to from being unconscious, they asked her what she wanted, and she said, "I want Pop," and that's me. She wanted Pop, and she wanted her brother Julian. So when they give me that affection, that gives me goosebumps. And I think I told you that story when Aubrey was only 6 years old, and I was just maybe a couple of years into my divorce, and I was at my son's house, and he asked me how the divorce was going, and I was explaining to him that it was tough, and I got a little emotional, and Aubrey noticed it. She didn't say anything. She was playing with her brother Julian. 2 hours went by, and when I went to leave the house, I said goodbye to everyone. I put on my coat. She said, "Pop, wait a minute." She ran up to me, jumped into my arms. Picture this, wrapped her legs around me, put her arms around my neck, grabbed my face and put her face back and said, "When you come back, I'm going to be wearing a long white dress. We're going to get married, and I'm going to take care of you for the rest of your life."
oh,
Whoa. Goosebumps.
oh.
Everyone,
So,
everyone had them.
years, of course, everyone probably, and she didn't want you being sad.
6 years old, though? How do
6
you
years
know?
old.
How do you know that your grandfather was upset like that? And she knew enough to say she's going to wear a dress to marry me so she could take care of me? That's
Oh,
insane.
yeah. What a sweet. She's the gymnast, right?
Yeah, yes. And now,
Yes.
these are the stories that are in the book, by the way. This is what I'm talking about. This is, you know what I'm saying? This is what I'm
You
talking
know what I'm
about.
saying? That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Okay, so do you know what your astrology sign is?
Yeah, I'm Aquarius.
Aquarius.
They wrote a song about me. They did a play about me. I'm the angel of Aquarius.
Do you know what the traits of an Aquarius are supposed to
Yes,
be?
the number one trait, they're 50 years ahead of their time.
Boom.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
But
the
you already
rarest,
knew that.
I believe. Yes, right. I've known that. They are the rarest sign. I
They're
believe
the
that there's
rarest
less
sign, and they're the
people
only sign that all other signs, uh,
try to
um,
copy.
yeah,
We want to be you.
every other sign gets along with Aquarians.
Gotcha. I did not know that. I'll
Yeah,
research that. I'll check you
well,
on that one.
I'm making it up, but it sounds good. Keep going.
Sounds good right now. Okay, so if you could move to another country, now everybody watching, listening, think about this for yourself. I love this kind of stuff. So you think about it too. If you could, oh, Jen Howe, I'm married to an Aquarius. They are chameleons. Ah, I like it.
Yep.
Jen, you'd love Jen, Steve Rizzo. You'd love
I
her.
love you, Jen.
If you could move to another country for 1 year, where would it be? Now, everybody listening, think about it. You could go anywhere, no strings attached. Just go for a year. It's free. Let's just do all the best case scenarios. Where would you go, Steve Rizzo?
Italy.
That's where I would go. So you got to pick. No, I'm teasing. You got to pick a different one. No, I'm teasing. Okay, so we got Italy. Why?
Um, relatives that I haven't seen yet.
Ooh,
Um, I'm Sicilian. Uh, just
have you been there before?
yes, the Sistine
Okay.
Chapel, those places. It did something to me spiritually, emotionally.
Wow.
When I went to Palermo in Sicily to see relatives, that was incredibly breathtaking. Um, yeah, it would be Italy, and a place that I've never been, but I heard it's just so gorgeous, and I think I would love it there, Switzerland.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a great answer. I also want to go to Italy, and I think I'd want to live there. For a year. You could travel all around to
Yep,
all the different places, and you have time to really take in the culture, all the good food. It's just awesome. Thank
we'll
you
go
guys
together. We'll
for
go together, me and you.
we'll go like next week, okay?
Start packing.
1 year. Okay, so here's another question for you. What small joys bring light to your day? So just regular old days, what little joys bring light to your day?
Saying I love you to people.
Aw, and that brings joy to them too.
Yeah, and
Unless it's a stranger on the street and they get really scared. I don't know.
no, I love you.
It's like some
Hug
crazy.
me. I need a hug. Give me a hug. No, doing nice things for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this a few days ago, someone was having a hard time with their groceries, and I just went right over. I helped her, and she couldn't thank me enough. You're a nice man. Have a wonderful day. That just made my whole day, and I wasn't in a great mood that day. Those little things, But I'm always call. We tell each other all the time. I
Yes.
love you. I mean, we
Yes.
just, even if I don't hear from you, I'm saying I miss you. I love you.
Yes.
And then you say it back, and it just those are the
Yeah.
three. Those are the three most important words on the planet. And I know people that don't like to hear it. You know,
Why?
I don't know why. There's a lot of people that they just feel clothed. Not a lot, but there are some that I know. I've had relationships with some people that just have a hard time saying it.
Hmm.
Once a month, once every month and a half, I'll call people up, and I don't text them. I call them. I want them to hear my voice. And if they don't answer, I leave a message. Just want you to know that I'm thinking of you. I haven't heard from you in a while. I just want you to know that I love you and I miss you. And I just hang up. That's it.
Oh, that is nice. And it brings me joy knowing that you get joy from making other people's day. Okay, Jen Howe, it's uncomfortable for people that don't hear it a lot growing up. Yeah,
Yes, I think you're right, Jen. I think that's it.
yeah. And also, a lot of people aren't comfortable in their own skin and loving themselves. So when someone else gives that love to them, they might not know what to do with it. Kind of like what Jen said.
Yep.
Okay, next question. Oh, wait. I say I love you. Jen says, I say I love you to all my friends, and I always appreciate you. I appreciate you to someone that aren't as close as a friend.
Yep.
Yes, girl,
Yep.
rocking it. Oh, Bob Donnell, I love you.
I love you too. I love Bob Donnell. You know what I love about him?
Who wouldn't? What
It's
do you
just
love
that
about Bob?
he's such a mild mannered. He's so quiet. And I've been on a couple of podcasts with him,
Yes.
and me, I just love to talk. But he's so reserved. But when he does talk, he's a powerhouse. I mean,
And
yeah,
you know what? I so agree. And there's a presence in people like that. I love reminding people while I still have the chance, telling them that you love someone when you still have the chance. That's true. That's so true, Len. My dad has a presence like that. Believe it or not, he's not a chatty man. I wonder why. He had 3 daughters, 4 women in the house and him. But he was the type of person that was an observer and a listener. And then when he did speak, it was like, this must be really good. And it usually was. So yeah, it reminds me a lot. And Bob reminds me of my dad in that way too. Okay, so next question. What is one of your favorite memories from your childhood? So everyone listening, think about what's the first thing you think of from your childhood that is a favorite memory.
Uh, this is, I'm going to give the brief story.
What did he?
This was, that's all, folks. Next question. So anyway, okay.
Easy for you to say.
Okay. This was third grade. I was in a play, Alice in Wonderland, and I was Humpty Dumpty. This is when I realized how powerful my sense of humor can be. Okay. And they gave me this egg costume. It was so cloudy. I mean, I couldn't even move. Walk around. And Humpty Dumpty sits on a wall. I'm on this wall, and it says opening night. And I'm looking through the curtain. It's sold out because back in the day, the auditoriums were sold out with parents and aunts and uncles. And I saw my mother and father, my brothers, my aunts, uncles, cousins there. That's a lot of pressure for a third grader. And it's my opening scene. Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall. Alice walks in, and my opening line is, "I'm one who has spoken to a king, I am." And I guess I said it with a little bit too much enthusiasm. I lost my balance and fell over on the back end of the wall. All the audience heard was, that's all they heard. Now, I didn't get hurt physically, but emotionally, I was petrified, tears in my eyes. And I'm saying, oh my God, I ruined the whole play. My brothers are going to make fun of me. How am I going to face my parents? And a part of me is going, get back on the wall. And I'm going, I can't. I wanted to run off, but I was literally frozen by fear. I really was.
Yeah.
And as all these negative thoughts are going through my head, the teacher's running up the steps and says, "Oh my God, Stephen, are you okay?" Without missing a beat, I yelled out, "Yeah, I'm okay, but I hope Alice doesn't mind scrambled eggs."
Oh my gosh.
Now, I'm still behind the wall. I hear the audience howling with laughter. Okay. Now I'm listening to the laughter. I stick my little egghead over the wall. They gave me a standing ovation and they're going, "Humpty, Humpty."
Oh my
I
God.
get up on the wall and I start dancing on the wall, thinking
Poor
that,
Alice, you stole the show.
I know. And the teacher's begging me to sit down before I fall off the wall again. The thing is that at the end of the show, I went from a klutz to a hero just by allowing my humor being to come to the rescue. At the end of the show, the parents were coming up to me, asking me for my autograph. Of course, they were doing it to make me feel good, but
Yes.
it made me realize how powerful humor nipped that fear in the bud before emotional havoc blossomed. And I took that with me for the rest of my life.
Well, obviously, I mean, it followed you through your life as a comedian. I mean, that probably had something to do with the breathe.
It had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. Now we're going from that to this. How do you feel best supported in hard times?
God.
Boom.
I don't even have to say anything after that.
Wow. That's okay, Jen. How it wasn't for my sense of humor. If it wasn't for my sense of humor my whole life, I'd be getting a ride in a paddy wagon. LOL. That is hilarious. Who knew?
Jen, I agree. Jen, you and I have a lot in common.
Yes. Bob says, thank you. That is so appreciated. You are so welcome.
You're quite welcome, Bob. That's coming from my heart.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, God is the answer to that one question without a doubt.
Yeah. God, period. Mic drop.
That's the biggest thing I'm learning now because of God is patience. Because I told you I've spent significant time by myself the past couple of months. And it's patience is the one thing that I'm learning now more than anything. So please hurry up and ask me the next question.
Yeah, it's like, get on with it, would you? Okay, so wow, this is a nice segue into this next question. What does alone time look like for you?
Empowerment.
But what does it makes you feel empowerment? But what does it look like? What do you?
It looks like fear. It feels like fear. It feels like excitement. It feels like getting to know myself. It feels like being completely vulnerable. about yourself,
Mm.
not deceiving yourself. And as a result of spending quality time by myself, um, I'm more vulnerable with other people and with relationships. And I have found that sometimes that's not acceptable because vulnerability is considered a weakness today in our society.
And it
When you,
so isn't.
yes, when you express your feelings to someone, I mean, your true feelings, I've had some relationships that ended because of my vulnerability, expressing how I feel about someone. And, but the cool thing about that is that I can go to bed every night and wake up every morning knowing that I was 150% myself. And you
Mhm.
can't be wrong when you are who you are. You know,
Yeah.
if a relationship ends and you weren't honest with your feelings, then you have something to regret. Then you want to say, shit, I should have told that person this. I should have told that person that. But I didn't because I was trying to keep my, my persona up as being some cool guy or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it's a lesson that everyone on this planet needs to learn. As a matter of fact, in the book, the very first chapter in my book, Becoming Steve Rizzo, is the power of vulnerability. It's one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned in my entire life.
Yeah. And, it's probably a practice too, to keep yourself in a space where you
It's not
can be
easy
vulnerable, right? It's
because you're
like
going to be judged.
exercise.
You're
You
going to
don't
be judged. Yes, you will be judged,
Yes, you will.
especially with the male species, because with men, you're supposed to be macho, strong.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show your feelings. You're not supposed to tell a woman what you just said hurt me. You hurt me just then. Why did you say that? Something like that.
Something like that.
Some kind of crap,
Okay, so Jen is asking you though, when you take time alone, what is your favorite alone time practice?
um meditation. I lately, the past couple of 3 months, I've been meditating 4 or 5 times a day. I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm so into it now that I find parts of myself. I see situations in my past that come up that I have to deal with.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes it's not as enlightening as it is others, but you get those moments sometimes when you just go, whoa.
Yeah.
So it's meditation. I always say meditation is listening to God, praying is hearing what God has to say.
Oh, wow. I've never heard you say that before.
And I
Say
never
that
talk to
again.
God. I always talk with God.
Uh-huh.
It's like my book, Conversations with Bob, as we
Yeah.
say. Bob is God. Bob is Bob Donnell. And
Bob Donnell. He's
no,
he's with us right now. He's
well, it's a conversation. It's a
Yeah.
both people say, well, I do. I talk to God. No, you're not supposed to talk to God. You're supposed to talk with God. That's how you pray. You've
Mhm.
got to open up knowing that when you talk, there's an answer somewhere. You just got to learn how to communicate with that higher power, whatever you want to call it.
Before the next question that we're all answering in our heads, and also please, if you feel the need, I would love to have you, Bob heard it. We would love for you to pipe in and let us know what the answers to your questions are, and participate. But before we do, if you see on the bottom of the screen where it says steverizzo.com, if you want to learn more about Steve, he's an inspirational speaker. He goes all over the world for speaking events. That's how you can find out more about him and his other books and stuff. So we're going to move next. Next question. This one's really deep. Get ready. Ready?
Yeah,
Dogs or cats?
dogs. When
I
I
think
was
I
married, I was married for 34 years. My wife was a dog trainer. She was manager of the Riverhead Dog Shelter out East Long Island. We always had 4 labs or 3 labs and a German Shepherd. They were, if there's one thing that I miss more than anything, are my dogs or a dog. But I travel a lot, so I can't have a dog. I would never
Yeah, it
leave a
wouldn't be
dog
fair to
alone.
the dog. Yeah, I
Can't
get
do it.
it.
But I love cats too because we had cats also. But I love dogs. A dog spelled backwards is God.
Yes.
And there were times when I was upset and I would be in my office that was on the 3rd floor of the house. And I'd be upset about something. I would be like this. And I'd notice and I'd look in the doorway. They were smart. They were trained. They wouldn't come into my room unless I said it was okay. But all 4 of them like this.
Please
Oh,
let
this
me
brings
finish.
tears to your eyes. And, they had this goofy look, and I look at them. I would lie down on the floor, and I'd say, okay, come on in. And they jump all over me. And whatever I was upset or angry about dissipated immediately.
Yeah. It's like, pet me, you'll feel better.
Yeah. In
It's so true.
conversations with Bob, Bernie, one of the characters, Bernie loves his dog Wally, and Bob says you could learn a lot from Wally because, for instance, when Wally comes up to you and keeps dropping a ball in front of you, he may not be telling you that he wants to play. He just may be telling you that it's time for you to play.
I love
and that's
that.
what dogs do for you.
Yeah, I loved that part.
I love that.
Read your book. Okay, next question. Cynthia Mania. Hey, dogs, love you guys. Oh, see, she's a little love muffin too.
Yeah.
Thank you. We love you back. Okay. What do you wish? Now, everybody who's on, keep thinking about what your answers are. What do you wish people better understood about you?
That I'm more than just a person that can make you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes when I'm in a crowd of people expect me to entertain them all the time. And that puts a lot of pressure.
Exhausting.
It's exhausting. And I've learned to deal with it. But years ago, quite a few years ago, I used to get angry, especially when I was doing stand-up. People would invite me to a party that night or the next day or something. And then they would, look at me and say, what's the matter? You're not making people laugh. And I'm like, it's my job.
Yeah, you don't have to be on all the time.
Yeah. If you're a nurse, you don't go up to someone and say, hey, give me an enema. You don't.
Listen, I'm not at the hospital. I'm not on duty. Well, and you know what? It's so funny. One of the first times, I do it to you all the time when we were on like Grow Live or we'd be, hey, talk like Archie Bunker. I mean, I'm always.
You did it on that one interview with the high school kids.
Oh, that's right. I couldn't remember.
I almost, you said, do Archie Bunker. And I went, they don't even know Archie Bunker.
That's so true. They were college students and he zoomed in. I was doing a presentation and I asked him to zoom in and talk to the kids, and he did. And it wasn't until later that I realized you had the flu. Yeah. You didn't tell me you were sick because you knew I'd say, no, no. I literally would have said, get your butt back. No, I wouldn't have.
But I did it and it worked.
It did. And then I was so appreciative to that and everybody loved it. But yeah, I'm like, imitate, now do this. And oh my gosh. And you said, kids, have you ever heard of Archie Bunker? And like 2 people in the whole auditorium had heard of Archie Bunker. That's crazy. That's a classic. Okay. I mean, it's kind of inappropriate, but it's what I grew up watching. So I think it's funny. All right. Next. Oh, Jen Howe. But don't you see how hard it is to not be funny when it comes so easy? Like I have a hard time trying to not be the entertainment everywhere I go. I could be in a mid breakdown and literally cracking jokes about my life and people are laughing at me and I'm bawling my eyes out, but I'm still funny even then. How do we navigate that, Steve?
I don't know. You can't, because sometimes my humor being goes out of control. I've had people tell me heart-wrenching stories about something and I start laughing or I try to hide it. And it's not funny. For example, many years ago, a friend of mine, he wasn't getting along good with his wife and he started cheating on his wife.
It's not funny.
The next morning he picks up his phone and he texted the woman that he was having an affair with and said sex was great last night. And he pressed send, not realizing he sent it to his wife.
Oh.
And he calls me up and I am in tears, hysterical. And he's like, man, that's not effing funny. Are you kidding me? What am I going to do? And I said, I don't know, but apparently you did the wrong thing. I don't know why. Just to me, it was funny. And
but you know what though, Jen, I'm gonna help Steve out here because I think that the exact reason that you're asking Steve, how do we navigate that, is the reason why he takes a lot of time by himself.
Yeah.
Because by yourself, you're not under pressure to be on stage constantly and to be not to be the live entertainment all the time, because it is exhausting. If you're having a bad day, you just kind of want to go to lunch with people and not talk about your past or jokes or whatever. You just want to be still.
Yeah, and I also now, because of the other thing that I do with inspiring and motivating people, I don't mind doing this, but sometimes my body is just spent.
Yeah.
And I notice that even when I do exert myself to try and help someone with a problem, um, and they're having a hard time understanding, I feel that I'm losing patience a little bit, and that can be exhausting because I don't want to go there. So
And you are working on patience.
yeah, I'm working on patience big time.
Just saying. Next question. What is one habit you want to get rid of and one habit you want to keep?
The habit I want to get rid of is impatience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have the tendency to take it everywhere. And even when I think I have it in control, I'll go in traffic and I'll immediately start calling somebody an asshole in traffic.
Mm-hmm. And then
And
you say
no,
you're noticing it and you're reeling yourself in, or what are you doing?
well, when I notice it, then that's fine. But if I don't harness it right away,
It gets out of control.
I'll take that with me for the whole day and just
Oh
think
my
that,
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's it. And a habit that I want to keep is my gratitude walk that I do every morning.
Oh, tell me about your gratitude walk.
I talk to God every morning, thanking God for all the things I'm grateful for. And I live in a beautiful area, and I love birds, I love trees, and I'm always talking about, oh, that bird sounds beautiful. Thank you. You know, this tree is
Mhm,
gorgeous. Thank you. And grateful for my neighbor will say, how are you this morning? And
mhm.
all that stuff, that simple stuff that puts my life in perspective. I get up sometimes very early in the morning just to see the sunrise, you know,
Nice.
and I'll walk and I'll appreciate the colors, and that little stuff just juices me. And that's a habit that became a part of who I am. And I've been doing that for a long, long
Love
time.
that. I like that. Your God walk. That's awesome. What is one thing you would tell your younger self?
Don't take life so seriously, because I did as a kid. I mean, everything. I took everything seriously. I mean, to the point I was very athletic, even though I was small in stature. I was very athletic. The coaches always used to ask, why didn't I try out for the football team? Why? Why didn't what you would tell my father when my mom and dad would come up for open house? They would talk to my, we watch him in gym. He's really good. I tried to get him, but my brother Rocky tried out for the team, and he was really good.
Mhm.
But here was the one thing that deterred me. This is how sensitive I was as a kid, and I don't mind being this vulnerable. I was in eighth grade, and I was practicing for football, and every time my father came to see me practice, I always fucked up every time. I always screwed up. I would drop the ball. I would fall. And one night at dinner, my dad asked me how practice was, and I said it was good. I didn't want to talk about it. And my brother Rocky said, because he was on the same team I was on, he said, "Hey, Dad, what does it mean when the coach calls the player a fish?" And my father laughed and said, "Well, that means he's a klutz and he keeps falling and everything." My father said to Rocky, Why did you ask that question?" Because that's what Coach Lynch said Steven was a fish. So my
Mm,
father was laughing, my brothers were laughing, and everyone was laughing. And I thought they were laughing at me. The next day, I took my equipment, I put it in front of the coach's office, and I never tried out for the team again the rest of my junior high and high school years.
mhm.
And I sat in the bleachers every football season to watch my brother scoring touchdowns.
So you're saying that you took that very seriously, and any negativity that you
I
would
would
hear,
tell
you
my younger self back in the day, or you talking about my younger self now, the one I'm carrying with me?
the yes, that too. But
Okay.
no, but like this, exactly. But you would tell that little boy, you would say, "Listen, keep playing, keep trying. You're fine."
Exactly.
You were probably dropping the ball because you were nervous about your dad watching.
But even when he wasn't there, I did that too, because everyone's I just had this thing about me. I didn't have the confidence, and I knew where it came from.
Yeah.
You know that story when I was in the guidance counselor's office at 14, and he asked, my mom and dad were right next to me and said, "What do you want to do with your life?" I said, "I want to be a teacher." And he said, "Well, let's just say Stephen doesn't have what it takes to go to college." And I believed him, and so did my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
That was that same exact year, 8th grade. So all that stuff of being not good enough, smart enough, worthy enough.
And isn't that amazing that one person can make a comment like that and you can take that with you for your life and believe it?
But the blessing is, if it wasn't for those moments, if it wasn't for that moment in my senior class in high school, if I wasn't voted least likely to succeed, I wouldn't be in a position where I can help hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people to turn their lives around and believe in
True.
themselves. It is indeed those moments that enables me to let people know that they can do it. Don't listen to what anybody else says. That's part of my message. Be the best that you can be.
And the fact, like, confidence, really, that's a huge issue. Like, if you don't have confidence in yourself, you're going to believe what anyone tells you.
Oh, absolutely. It's what separates those who succeed from those who fail. It's not talent and ability. It's not just that. It's not just that. It's your empowering belief that you have in yourself.
So true. Here is the next question, Stephen Rizzo.
These are great questions, by the way.
If you were to perform a duet with a famous musician, who would it be?
John Lennon.
Well, you're going to have to die to do that, but
I'm just saying, if he was alive, it would be John Lennon. Would it have to be somebody alive today?
no, I'm making the rules as we go. Okay, name someone that's living today.
Um,
And let's manifest that. We're going to see this happen.
Wow. I'm putting my head on my hand.
I know. When you start doing that, I know you're like,
you know, I'm thinking. Just give me a second.
Would it be a country musician? Or would it be?
It would be right now who I'm really into, Joe Bonamassa.
Okay.
Who's the guitar player. He's incredible.
Okay.
Just play his stuff and you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
He's the best guitar player on the planet.
Okay. So here's next question. What does your name mean? Stephen, was yours with PHEN?
No, it's EVEN. I think it means, I'm not bragging. It means something about royalty, I think.
Yes, it does. It means crown and rule.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's me. Yeah.
You rule. You rule. Stephen, let's just give it. Remember when we said your middle name? Tori said, yikes.
Francis. Yeah. Stephen Francis Rizzo. I know. She said yikes like, hey.
That's a nice name. I like the name. I don't know why she said yikes, but she just thought, wow, that's taking that through. That might have been part of your problem.
Well, that was the problem. When my mom was pissed off at me, you always knew because she would go, Stephen Francis Rizzo.
Oh, yeah. But I can't believe you didn't say what we just found out, what they're using Rizzo. Riz.
Oh, yeah. Riz. It's in the dictionary now. It's in Webster's dictionary and Oxford dictionary. Riz is a person that has incredible
charisma.
Incredible charisma, and people need to be around.
Yes.
That name. It's the name now. They use that word Riz.
Oh my gosh, he's so Riz. She's so Riz. I'm so Riz.
And that's what it is. And that's what people call me, Riz.
I love it. Next question. Yeah. Come on, people, answer. Somebody type in, please. Let us know what your favorite comfort food is.
Comfort food.
I have a lot. Sometimes I crave things.
I would have to say fruit. Cherry.
Oh, for the love. Fruit?
Yeah.
That's a comfort food?
What? Yeah, of course it is. And it's not. What do you mean comfort food? Do you mean junk food? That's not comfort
No,
food.
Not junk food. Comfort food like deep South, like mashed potatoes with gravy and some sourdough bread.
Oh, then I would have to say turkey, an old-fashioned turkey dinner.
Okay, so like a Thanksgiving
roast
dinner,
turkey, with stuffing, cranberries, fresh cranberry sauce. Yeah, that stuff.
I keep forgetting I'm talking to a New Yorker here. He doesn't know what comfort food is.
All
He'll
right.
say fruit.
No, now I know Southern Comfort and all that. I get it. Midwest and all
Jen
that
says
shit.
old
I get it.
fashioned cornbread. Oh, very fitting, Riz. Yes. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so here's another question in alignment with your younger self. So, what is something you have accomplished as an adult? What? He's not an adult yet. That your younger self would be proud of?
Stand-up comedy. And motivational speaker. And they happen to be the two biggest fears. It beats death. You ask anyone, the survey always is. It used to be motivational, used to be speaking in front of an audience, public speaking. But now stand-up comedy is almost equal with that. It's a little above it.
So Jen, who's on here typing to you, she is a stand-up comedian, and she was on my show, and we were talking. I said, I told Steve Rizzo that if someone said that I had to get up on a stage and try to make people laugh, I would be terrified. I would be terrified. And I can stand up and talk to people all day long, but if you're telling me you're going to go up there and you need to make people laugh, that makes me have a hot flash even thinking about it.
Well, you know why? And the reason why that's number one and above speaking, because if you're speaking and you have a great message, you can have the great message and you don't need acknowledgement from the audience.
Yeah.
When you're doing stand-up, if they're not laughing, you suck.
That's true. That's right. That's right. Because
you know you suck. You're sucking that night.
Okay, so here, Jen says, what kind of advice you got for a very new green stand-up comic? Also known as her.
Be who you are and take a risk knowing you might offend people, especially today in a politically correct era.
We're in a politically correct era.
Yeah. Be who you have to be who you are. That's number one. Find your style, find your audience, knowing that not all audiences might get you right off the start. But if you come from here instead of here, you'll be fine.
That's such great.
And always have seasoned comedians. If you're performing at a club and if you have seasoned comedians, I don't know if the Funny Bone's still there in Ohio, but if it is, always ask seasoned comedians to watch your set and take notes and say, if I would appreciate your expertise and give me advice for what you think. Because some of my greatest bits have been from comedians saying to me, instead of using this line, try it this way. And sometimes it's just a matter of two words that can make a big difference in the bit.
That's awesome. That's great advice, Jen. I love that. And anything being just you and come from the heart and not think it so much through. Yeah, Bob Donnell's comfort food are biscuits and gravy and mac and cheese. Oh, that sounds so good right now.
A lot different.
That's good. Jen says that's good advice. We have some open mics around here.
Good.
Yes.
Well, keep doing it, Jen. And also get my contact information from Deb. If you ever need any help along the way, let me know. Writing material, I could help you.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Jen, I'm so glad you tuned in. That's amazing. See, he's a great person. He will totally help you out. Okay, so what color would you choose to describe yourself?
Purple.
Oh my gosh. You're going with the royalty theme, aren't you?
Yes, Steven. I am. Not only that, it's my birthstone, amethyst.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Chris,
I love that.
Chris, hey Chris, how you doing? So what color would you describe me?
Blue.
Blue, okay. But I don't want to be blue.
I'm sorry, you asked me.
I mean blue. Boo-hoo blue, you know what I mean?
No, I see you in shades of blue, not just a royal blue, shades of blue.
Shades of blue, okay.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm relating it to the sky, the ocean, and all those.
The seas.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and I like being blue. I just don't want to be sad blue. I just want to be blue. BLUE.
Geez, help me, Lord. Here she goes. I like the color blue too, Archie.
All right, now to end this, we can still talk more, people. I want to know what anyone has to say about this. If you want to add anything, please, to the listeners, type in to Steve. Let him know you're here. What lessons from, I mean, this might be a long thing you have to type, so I get it if you don't, but what lessons from your childhood, we kind of talked about this, have most impacted your worldview?
Worldview. Okay.
A little different.
Just give me a second.
Hi, Zena. Thanks for being here.
Politics.
The politics has impacted you.
When I say that, I'm talking about the left and the right.
Yep.
Be very aware to trust either one. Because even though I might sway to one side, I'm always very cautious about what they say and what they do, because someone asked me not too long ago, believe it or not, and I think I offended quite a few people because there were some politicians there. They said, "What's your definition of a politician?" And I said, liar, deceiver, and egomaniac. I said, not all of them, but the majority of them, from what I'm seeing now with what's happening today.
Yeah, it almost makes you feel like good people, the people who really want to do good, don't even want to be in those positions.
Well, they can't do good because they promise it, but then all of a sudden, once they get stuck in the shit, they realize that what they wanted to do, they're unable to do because the system won't let them do it.
Yeah.
And I'll do that for you, but you're going to have to do this for me. And by doing this for me means you're going to have to cut your values in half. So now you have to negotiate who you really are to get what you say you wanted to give to people, because other parts of yourself are going to be negotiated. And that's the politician's game. And I just,
and so do you feel like from your childhood you saw a lot of politics then? And that also,
I saw that my brother, who passed away 2 years ago and is 100% disabled from the Vietnam War, they lied to us and said it's a war we needed to be in.
Yeah.
And then years later, all these 58,000 soldiers were killed in Vietnam. And I know this is getting heavy here, but this is the answer to my question. 58,000 soldiers were killed. So many of them were maimed, my brother included. And now all of a sudden in the middle, well, we shouldn't have been there, just because of a group of politicians needed it to boost the economy and for their personal gain.
Okay, this makes total sense to me, your answer. Thank you for going into it a little deeper. That makes total sense. I know, like, for me, when I was I could, the hierarchy of, not with politics, but for me, it's almost like, the poor, the average, the wealthy, and the division that used to be, I feel like when I was a young girl, the division between those, I think, has closed a lot, and maybe in my mind, but I always thought it was sad. I always thought it was sad that, average and the poor and we couldn't all work together. It just seemed, I don't know what I'm trying to go here, but that did affect me. And I definitely see value in every human being, not how much money they have in their bank account or how much or what they don't have. I think that we all are human beings with a lot to offer, and that's how I've lived my life. So, Bob Donnell, thank you so much for being here. But I want to talk about when you were on the show. You've only been on this show once, but you guys can watch Steve's show on YouTube that he and I had done together called Hey, I'm Talking Here. Hey, I'm Talking Here. And we've had some really good segments where we really delved into topics. He would take a topic, we would talk it to death, but we did have so much fun doing that. We might be, going back to Hey, I'm Talking Here for a couple more sessions. I don't know. But when you were on the show before, I asked you a question that I ask everybody, but I'm going to ask you again. And I want to see if you have a different view or something else you've found in the last couple of years. What in your life have you found that you can share with us to help inspire us to find it too? Hi, Ashley Henson. You know her. I introduced you to Ashley, the singer.
Yes, you did. Hey, Ashley, how are you? That was a beautiful song, by the way.
Oh my gosh. You gotta get
That
that
was a
copy
beautiful
written.
song. Um, could you repeat that question, please?
So the show's called Find It.
Hmm.
So I want to ask you what you have found in your life that you're thinking about. You found a lot, but what is something you can share with us that you have found to inspire us to find it too?
It's never too late to find it. Whatever.
Ooh, I love that.
It isn't. It isn't. I was given a workshop not too long ago. You might have even heard this story. I don't know if you did. I was given a workshop, and there was a woman in her 60s. She lived in Manhattan, and I could see her emotions during the whole workshop, listening to people. And we got to the point where she dedicated her life to her family, to her husband. She stopped pursuing her career. She wanted to act. She got a master's in theater arts. She dedicated her life to her family, her husband. Her husband divorced her, left. She's by herself. She's in her 60s. And she said, so how could you tell me that I could still move on with my life and live my dream? So I said, you live in Manhattan, don't you? And she said, yeah. And I said, you said you're pretty well off. You've retired and you can live on the money that you have. She goes, and then some. I said, well, why don't you take a few acting classes? You live in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I said, and why don't you see if you can get to be a, a walk on a Broadway play or off Broadway?
Uh-huh.
Why don't you see if you can get a job at a theater? Why don't you
I want to
audition?
do that.
And she goes, do you know how long it will be by the time I get in? I said, yeah, the same age you'll be if you don't do it.
Right.
So I said, this is your choice. You can either wallow in the time that you lost, or you could take advantage. I said, you're incredibly attractive.
Yeah.
I said, you're very smart, and you don't have to worry about going to work. You have the money. I said, get your ass up and start auditioning. It was about a couple of years later, I heard from her. She's working at some of the major theaters. She's working as a stage manager now. She's in theater. She's not acting,
That's amazing.
but she found a home.
She's on her way and doing something that's empowering that she
Yep.
wanted to do. You know,
And
you
I'll
know,
tell
it
you,
doesn't mean
and there's another, my ex-wife, Gina, one of the biggest inspirations in my life. We were married 34 years. She wanted children in the worst way. She couldn't have them. We tried everything. I mean, everything. And she went into a depression. I mean, really bad, because my nieces were having baby showers and she
oh, I
was
bet.
there and
God
it
bless
was destroying her.
sure.
But in time,
That's
she
wonderful.
found another passion. She did this. The passion was she loved dogs. She decided to become a dog trainer. This was a gradual thing. And before you know it, like I said, she became manager of the Riverhead Dog Shelter on Long Island. She was in charge of rescuing dogs. We had 4 labs. She's brilliant at what she got a write up in the New York Times, Sunday edition, as a Long Island dog whisperer. I mean,
Oh,
so she found her other passion. That's my point, folks. If you give up on yourself, life will give up on you. If you give up on yourself, God can't help you, because God helps those who help themselves. If you
mhm.
can't do one thing, there's something else there. It's just that you're wallowing so much on what you can have or what you no longer have that you'll never be able to see what else you can do. It's up to you to do that.
Mm. What I want to see that Bob Donnell had a good question. I want to pop that back up there. Okay, Steve, what has been the most powerful way a stranger has connected with you?
Oh. 3 years ago, I spoke for a group called the Top of the Table. Very prestigious. Billionaires are in this audience. 600 people. I got that speaking gig because 2 years before that, I spoke for the $1 million round table. I smoked. Anyway, this guy came up to me and it was the best shit I ever had. It was the best thing that happened to me.
And
No,
they took me to the table.
that's why I can't be serious with you. Anyway, so the top of the table was the upper echelons of the $1 million round table. There were only 600 people in the audience. I finished my presentation. I kicked ass. Oh, geez, what else is new? I'm on the elevator going to my room, and I'm in the elevator with these 4 people. And as the elevator door opens, this man, elderly man, is walking out. He holds the doors open like this. I'm not going to mention his name. He holds the doors open like this. He gives me his card and says, "Young man," which is why I loved him. He called me young man. And he said, "I will pay you handsomely to speak to you once a week and know more about your truth." I've never had an offer like that in my entire life. And before I could say anything, I took his card, the doors closed, and he walked away. The 4 people that were on the elevator left, looked at me and said, "I know you don't know who he is, but you would be an idiot if you didn't contact him." He is very well known. He's a major supporter for President Trump. He's connected me to so many big things in my life.
Wow.
And he's an evangelist, loves my book, Conversations with Bob. And as a result, things are happening with this book now because of him. And I did call him. I called him the next week. And every time he's in New York, we get together, we meet. And if I fly out to Denver, where he lives in Colorado Springs, it's one of the most incredible experiences ever. A stranger, total stranger.
That is crazy. And
Yeah.
wow, that's really, I did not know that full story. I know a little bit of that story.
Well, it's not a true story. You just wanted a story.
He just
wanted to tell you a story.
Oh my gosh. So
Good question,
the message about finding it is it's never too late to find it.
No. If you think it is, then it is.
Oh, I love it. All right, folks. What do you guys want to see more of him, right? What are we going to do? We're going to bring him on. We need to have just like the Steve and Debbie show or something coming up.
I want to do this with you, Debbie. Let's do this in front of all these people. I want to have a show with just me and you.
Okay.
I don't want to call the Steve Rizzo show. Like hey, I'm talking it with Steve Rizzo's. No, I want me and you because you're so valuable. We were so good together.
Yeah.
And I told you for the past couple of months, I've been looking at some of the reruns and you were just, it's very rare. We feed off of each other. I mean, it's so much fun. And so I just want to do a show, just me and you. And if anyone has an idea on what we can call the name of the show.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Let's do it.
The New Yorker and the Midwesterner. Now, I have some ideas. Okay. So with that, y'all, I hate to leave you guys because we got a good following right now, but we love you. What did Steve tell us today? Love and share the love, saying I love you to people who you care about. We do appreciate you being here. So we love you. And I hope that if you haven't heard that today, that this makes you all warm and fuzzy inside. And Bob said, always more. I love you guys and love. Oh, just quick. Oh my gosh, Steve. Chris is saying the Founded Islands.
What Founded Islands are you talking about?
Yes, he's talking about that radio bit that went viral and people are stealing it.
I know.
Okay, we'll save that for the next show. You can do your right.
Yeah.
We'll do that for the next one.
Sure, if you want me to.
So funny. I mean, that bit my son had heard, and when I first met you and said, "Oh my gosh, Steve Rizzo," and he goes, "Wait a minute," and he pulls it up, and I listened to it. And I'm like, "That's exactly what we heard on the Grow Live." He goes, "Mom, we have laughed. Me and the guys have laughed over this bit," and I'm like, "That's who I just had a Zoom call with." And it's so funny.
What we'll do, and when we play it, we'll take the radio version. You can play it over we'll play the DJ.
The producer, Len, can.
Well, it's the first time I ever did that bit. And the thing is, Deb, I did it in 1992. I never rehearsed it before. I just did it off the
Yes.
cuff. I just did it off the cuff, and it killed.
And a lot of jokes with 2 Long Islanders and one
Oh
from
yeah,
Ohio.
I got 2 New Yorkers in the house. I must like these New Yorkers. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of jokes from. There's 2 Long Islanders and 1 Ohio. There's a lot of
That's
jokes
what I'm
that could be
saying.
said.
That's what we're saying. Oh my gosh, Chris, that is so funny that he just said that. That is great. All right. Look,
Thanks,
and
Chris.
Steve's message too is stay hydrated. See, we keep drinking our water.
So let's think of a title for our new show.
Okay. We can have you guys help us. What do you think would be a good name for a podcast with Steve Rizzo and Debbie? Let's brainstorm that. Message us. And once again, steverizzo.com. You can find him. Oh my gosh, find it. You can find him there. He has all of the stuff that he has accomplished, how you can, oh yeah, we got to see this. You can shop with me, talk with us on the new podcast. We're figuring it out. It'll be rolled out as soon as you guys help us figure out a title. And maybe Lynn's getting hired for another show, I guess. Lynn, cheers to that, right?
It's a done deal.
You're not wanting to get rid of me yet, I hope.
Done deal.
So you got to think of the title, Lynn.
Oh God, she's not going to sleep tonight.
No.
So write notes. That's awesome.
All right.
We'll get this done. We already committed to it, so we'll do it.
It's a wrap.
We'll do it. It's a wrap. Love y'all, and stay tuned for next week, because guess what? I had to cancel 1 week on the Love Doctor, Barry Selby. Barry Selby will be with us on Wednesday, this next Wednesday. Same time, different guest. He will be here to talk about all that is love. Yeah. Oh gosh, 2 peas in a podcast. We got Ashley on it, man. She's 2 peas in a
That's
like
not
that.
bad. I just don't know if I want to be called a pea.
Well, you know, it takes 2 minutes before the show, but anyways, we gotta go.
All right. Okay. We'll see you next
We
week.
gotta go.
That'd be Friday, 10 o'clock.
That floats around me, keeping me